Hi, this is Rodrigo from Frame Freak Studio, and this is the Creative Hostler Show. Today, our guest is OMAR Lozano. He is a visual developer from Mexico, and he also is involved in creating books for children's, comics, and many amazing art that you can find online in his accounts. So, welcome, Omar.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about your history? How did you get involved into, well, pretty much how did you decide to become an artist, and how did you learn all your skills?
Okay, well, it's a bit funny because I think it has been just like uh, fell after fell after fell. I mean, it has been, I don't know, destiny has taken me in this way because I studied business and I I tried to study art, but here in my city, there weren't many schools that support artists. Um, so I ended up going for business. Afterwards, I went to Canada and took this intensive animation intensive summer camp. So after that, I was chosen. Well, not chosen, but I was recommended by a friend to work in a studio where they color comic books. So I started there professionally. I mean, then in that studio, I was working well, I was coloring stuff too as Dungeons and Dragons. Also, I helped for some Marvel and DC comics. My name was not involved in that, you know. It was most like factory, a comic factory, you know. There were a bunch of people coloring comic books. Then after that, I had the chance to make this comic called Ultra that came by hand of Edgar Delgado, who chose me to draw it, and I took the job. So that was my first comic, published comic. Then I had, let's say, um, my Thai and office time. I spent 6 months as in an office, work for something about my studies. And after that, a friend of mine told me that, hey, do you want to come to this studio? It's a video game studio. Uh, if you want to come in, the spot is yours. So I was like, oh, what I'm gonna do with my life? Time I went to my first CTN, so it was huge for me because I saw a lot of people involved in all this industry, and I was like all feel of I don't know. It was amazing. See how the whole industry come together, and you can become actually something. You know, like you can make stuff out of this. I took the decision, and I um, basically career apart, and I started to focus more on artwork. You know, um, in that video game studio. Uh, as a freelancer for another company called Stoneark. Them, I have done several children books and some comics, and thanks to them, I'm able to work for DC Comics doing some children books. Now I'm making some of Wonder Woman's children books, and that's pretty much it. I mean, probably I forgot something, but yeah, that's most of of what I've been doing in the past, I don't know, 8 years or something like that.
Nice. This is also as well something similar that happened to us when we went to CTNX.
Mhm.
First of all, we were like completely overwhelmed by the magnitude of the event
Yeah.
and the people, but then it was like, as you say, like the immensity of the possibilities. Like there were at the moment when I was there, I discovered that there were many careers I didn't knew even existed inside the art and illustration industry.
I know. When you take your portfolio for review and you don't have any art background as a student, your portfolio it's mostly crap, because it doesn't have any structure, or is not focused on something. And when you go there and you see all these amazing portfolios of other students, and they seem like very, very professional, and you're like, oh my god, I'm crap, what I'm gonna do?
Definitely. And also, how did people around you take when you changed from the business career to illustration? Because I guess that many people would have taken like, what? Like, this is a huge jump between careers,
Yeah.
right?
Everybody who knows me always thought that I will take graphic design as a career, and I didn't, because by the time I went to the university, to college, mm, I I have some knowledge about how to use design software as Flash and Photoshop and some others, and I have a friend who was ending the digital publicist career or something, and they asked me for help for the finals, and I was just gonna start. So I was like, what am I gonna learn in there that I already don't know how to do, or that I can research by myself? So I wanted to try something different, so I could have a diversity of knowledge, because if I had the chance to study art by the meaning of art, I will choose that over business. But as there weren't any college or universities that teach that, I I went for business because of marketing. So I thought, oh, maybe I can go uh, focus my career on marketing and do some commercials or something like that. So that was my main mindset to take business as a career.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I did went to graphic design for a couple of years because
Hmm.
of this same narrative here in my country that, oh, you made art, like you have to go to graphic design, and after
Yeah.
a year it was like very clear to me that graphic design was not at all illustration and animation,
Ah,
which is what I wanted. So I
that
changed
that's
career.
yeah, and that's a game changer. Once you're in the career and you see that not everything is draw and paint or theory about that, you're like, I don't want to design this or that or blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
Yeah, in my case, like I started to see these moments where the teachers put the best work, like for everybody to see,
Hmm.
and I watched the best work of some of my friends, and there
Uh-huh.
was like a very honest voice inside of myself that was saying like, there is no way that you will have ever come up with that kind of idea. Like, even
Mm.
in the best scenario with everything in your favor, there is absolutely no way that you will have thought of that. And I realized then, because at the moment I was like completely ignorant about the careers and the name of them,
Mhm.
but then I realized that what I was interested about was illustration, was animation,
Yeah.
and this graphic design thing was definitely not at all anything that I wanted. So that's when I decided like, okay, like, and of course, like, Latin American parents, they put you this pressure that you have to go to college, yes or yes.
Yeah.
Like, there
Yeah.
is no
Yeah.
other option. So I started like to think how to trick them to believe that it was a good idea for me to leave that career and to change to
Hmm.
something else because I was not interested in graphic design at all.
Yeah. What did you do next after you Evan?
Pretty much went to system engineer a couple of
Okay.
years, and then I realized that I didn't want to do developing either. So after that,
Oh.
I got like a job for as an IT specialist for many
Mhm.
years. Because of the economy went down and pretty much
Mhm.
everything that is suffering now, I decided like, okay, you know what, like this is definitely not going to work. I
Mhm.
don't see a good future for that. And luckily at the time, that's when I discovered all this thing about online businesses and things like
Yeah.
that. So I used my background to start like a web design business first and an app
Okay.
design thing when the iPhone came up and then apps started to become like a big deal.
Mhm.
But I didn't care much about that. And when a friend
Oh
of
no.
mine was in a position that he wanted to do this project and he needed like business skills, and at that time I already had some basics of business because of this business. I decided to drop that one, join with my friend. Now we have this
Mhm.
studio, and we are trying to make something with this.
Nice. I mean, that's a big step, like stepping out of a career and start a new one.
Yeah, because like even today, like there is a lot of people who believe that I'm crazy and do not
Mhm.
believe in everything that I stand for, even though I've been traveling the world now uh, and earning way more than I did back then in the
Yeah, when
office.
you were in a company or something that you were in your country, right?
Yeah, and that is like even the craziest thing. Like when you start making more money out of the thing that you love,
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 times more than the safe job that you have, like that's a completely game changer.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, totally.
How did that happen to you? Like I'm guessing that because you studied business, you have like some kind of basics that helped you out uh, to get more work in the art industry. Because something that I noticed in CTNX is that everybody wanted to become like this big artist,
Mhm.
and people and I saw some people who were struggling not because they lacked the kind like the technique or the quality of art, but because they lack these very basic kind of rules that
Yeah. It's how
that
to
you can
approach
only learn
business.
in business. Yeah, exactly. Like how,
Mhm.
and this can help you out even to get like a real job. Like entrepreneurship principles can help you out not only to build a business, but to actually get good jobs.
Yeah, actually, it has helped me a lot to manage myself as an artist because, as you said, most of artists don't want to deal with numbers, and I think you have to because at the end, that's your job. You have to be dealing with let's say companies or clients in general, so you have to be focused on that part of the job as an entrepreneur or as a businessman, and you have to by the other hand deal as an artist with them. So you have to try to separate the both of things, but at the same time mix them and try to get the most of them. Because if not, I have some friends that they say, I don't want uh, to ask for payment because I'm too shy to do that. And I'm like, no, dude, you have to do it. It's your job. You have to be paid for it. No matter what, you have to. And it has helped me because it makes me look more professional than some other people. Because I don't remember the year, but was when I started to sign contracts and NDAs and lots of stuff. So I decided to do it myself for other clients. So now when I have some particular clients, I have my contracts and I send them to them. So I look like more serious about the business that's going on between us than anything else. And I'm doing that because once I wasn't paid for a job I did. So I was like, this is not gonna happen again to me. So I decided to go that way, and by doing so, that can be like the first filter you have with the client, because in the first moment you show them a contract and they are like, oh no, no, we don't need contract, or something like that. You know, he's not serious about what he's going to do with you, you know. So I use that as reference, so as how serious is a business with something, with someone, and so on. So yeah, it has helped me to that, and also to manage my, you know, my accounts and not overspend my money on uh, books and and electronics and stuff. So yeah, I allocate my money like in some investments and that stuff. So
Definitely. And funny that you mentioned that because just a couple of days ago, I was doing like a template for an NDA for a client,
uh-huh.
and pretty much I was think that I just started doing NDAs more and more recently. So we
Hmm.
started to get like people coming to us and ask for prices and all that. So I decided, okay, like this looks like something that is going to be happening more and more as time comes by. So
Hmm.
pretty much I prepare like this template document so I could send the client and where it had like the variables like your name here, your business here, your address,
Yeah.
your logo here. Like I pretty much prepare it like that, and even created like uh, even educated this client because he didn't knew much how to do it, like how to sign the documents. So I had to create like a small video to show him
Oh, and how to?
how to sign the document using Adobe Reader and
Oh
another
yeah.
one using Hello Sign. So pretty much uh, after that, like we were able to sign it and send. I sent the
Hmm.
invoice through Zero. Like he paid immediately, and it was like,
Yeah.
wow, like this is like the first time. But I think that that's what happened. What you just said, like when this client saw that we went like even a mile up and we
Hmm.
offer everything to him, like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. This is like a template.
It's already
Read it,
done.
do it.
Mhm.
Like here is how to do all these things. Like I think he saw us like very professional, and
Yeah.
pretty much took me more time to prepare the invoice, like putting all the information of the client, and then to him that to get paid. Like even
Yeah.
I didn't expect to get paid that fast. It was wow.
Yeah, and the good thing is that once you do that, sometimes you get the full payment on advance, so that's cool.
Yeah, something like I already deciphered. At least this works for us. I know that
Mhm.
everybody can use it a little bit different, but so far for us, it has worked that for amounts that go for $1,200 and less, like we
Mhm.
can ask for full price in advance, and
Yeah,
they are willing to pay it. After that, they are going to start like wanting more and more to do like 50 and 50. So
yeah,
I put that to scale from uh, uh, $1,500 to $10,000, like 50 and 50, and more
mhm.
than $10,000 and so on. Then we go 40, 30, and 30. And again, like we have all the documents,
Yeah.
like phase one, phase two, phase three, phase four, and
Mhm.
then we put the document like to start the project, we have to receive 40%. Then at completion of phase two, we have to receive
Yeah,
another 30%.
yeah, yeah. That's cool. I mean, it's cool to have that. You know, it makes you some confidence about what you're doing. So yeah.
Definitely. And what is the most common mistake that you see most artists making that they are not aware that they are making?
Send high resolution files without getting paid first. That's the most commonly mistake artists do. Um, uh, I don't know how many times I've told people not to send high resolution files without the full payment before that, because some people take advantage of that and they never end up paying you, you know. So I think that's the most common mistake.
Yeah, even in animation, we use the like a trick to send up
Mhm.
review. So
Yeah.
like our deal is like, okay, we'll send you a preview uh, for you to approve this animation or to ask for changes because this is
Mhm.
going to take faster rendering, but that's like kind of the middle of the line. So
Yeah.
uh, that's a half truth. The reason why is because what you say, like never to send a full resolution thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, totally.
we have some clients that we completely trust, but in the beginning it's like, yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, actually, when people doesn't want to go with contracts, I do something like you said, as take 50% first and 50% at the end. But in the middle of all that process, what I tell people is, okay, if you get 50% on advance, then you start working on the stuff. Then you show the final product or whatever you're doing in a small file, so they see it's finished. So you ask for the second part of the payment, and after it's done, you send the high res. Because I mean, that way both parts know that the deal is complete. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
I have obviously this changes from industry to industry,
Oh
and
yeah, sure.
depending how your clients go. But
Hmm.
I do have some friends who I don't know if it is because of the industry this happens a lot, or if it is them that they are looking for bad clients,
Yeah,
because
I don't
it
know.
can be both. But I have friends who had to go so far as to put like a watermark in the animations
Oh
or in
yeah.
the designs. Pretty much take the watermark until
Hmm.
they get paid because they have been ripped off so many times. And again, like this could be something that happens commonly in their industry, or it
Yeah.
could be that maybe they are looking for bad clients. I'm not sure
Mhm.
which is, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I know. Totally.
Uh, something. This is kind of a tricky question, but
Uh-huh.
what was something that you didn't expect at all and is really important in your career?
Something I didn't expect. Well, I don't know. I have received so much support of other artists that I never thought I will have. Um, Also, I never thought on working on big IPs, you know, on intellectual properties. So when I first was asked to make this children book for DC Comics, I mean, it's not like the super big deal of DC Comics, but when you see your name with the creators of Superman or Wonder Woman, it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, I'm doing this, you know. I never expected that. That was a huge surprise for me to be able to do that. And now with the Troll Hunters comic I'm doing, is like, wow, I'm actually working on something from Guillermo del Toro. I'm a big fan of his work, so I'm like, oh my god, I'm actually doing stuff for his lore, for his universe. So I don't know. I never expect that. I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah.
This is a kind of question I like to ask because lately, in the last year and a half,
Hmm.
I've been like trying to attack this kind of tricky mental enemy, which is kind of the what are the things you don't know that you don't know, and uh, and
Can you
this
repeat that?
uh, pretty much the thing that I'm trying to attack lately is the what are the things that you don't
Uh-huh.
know that you don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that is very tricky to find.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't even know that something exists, and that maybe that's something that you are not even aware that it exists,
Mhm.
is blocking you, then that is going to give you a lot of problems in advancing into the
Yeah.
career, when that is even giving you problems. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I recently gave a speech to for a local event of illustrators and things like that.
Mhm.
One of the things that I realize is because there are many people who have this notion that, oh, there is racism in the U.S. and because of that they are not going to be able to get like the job into illustration and things like that.
Mhm.
And I addressed this and I told it like, look, like the animation and illustration industry, like it is the least racist
Yeah.
industry in the U.S. Like that is the one of the most fair things in
Yeah. Actually,
the
they are
fair
very
industry.
open-minded about everyone.
Yeah, and the tech industry as well.
Mhm.
Like the tech, the entrepreneurship and the art industry and the creative industry is like based a lot in meritocracy, and the reason why I have this show like is because like people are not racist. Like people are, not
Yeah. I
only they
know.
are not racist, like they are very kind.
Yeah.
They are
Super kind.
amazingly kind, and
Mhm.
they are very open. Like you have these people who have won Oscars, and they will dedicate you 1 hour of their time or more to help you out to sort out these
Yeah.
doubts. And then there are all these people here like listening to us speak and believing that they cannot get a job because of racism. Like that
No.
there is like a phantom idea that is blocking them. And I told them like
Mhm.
it's something that you
Yeah.
have in your head that is going to block the fuck out of your career out of nothing because it doesn't exist. Like this idea is completely false.
Yeah.
And, and
Probably it does exist in some places. But as far as I know, in the animation industry so far, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, exactly, and again, like I told you, like this
Mhm.
in the creative industry, like it doesn't exist. Like if someone tells like doesn't give you a job, it's not
Mhm.
because they are racist, it's because you suck, like or because
Yeah.
you didn't
Yeah.
meet the requirement to get that
To get
opportunity.
that job. Yeah, actually, good you mentioned that because I was talking with a friend and we were talking about, let's say, birth advantages. So um, we artists sometimes want to get into the big industries, in the big companies, but we don't have the advantage over the people who are born in the US because they are born there. They don't have to get visas. They don't have to get passport. They don't have to get permits, and you have to do all of that by yourself. But getting the people to know you and go to conventions and try to convince them and show your work and be more prepared than other people. So there's that for a matter of getting hired by a company, but it's something more like requirements more than racism.
Exactly, and even now, like for example, I've seen that Disney started this program where pretty
Mhm.
much you can work with them without being in the US. So I know people who are living in France, who are living in
Mhm.
Argentina, who are living in all these countries, who some of them have never even put a foot in the
On
US in
the
their life,
uh
and they are working for Disney.
Yeah.
This is some like obviously this is something very new that thanks to the internet has come to pass, but it exists now. So now if you really have the talent and you speak
Mhm.
English, then you can work in Disney or you can work in Pixar. And for example,
Yeah.
if you go to the hiring page in Disney, you can even
Mhm.
link your LinkedIn account there, and they will give you like, okay, like based on your LinkedIn profile, we recommend you that you apply for these positions. Uh,
Yeah.
and that is something that's incredibly easy now because if we rewind like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like you even had to investigating which was your best, like the best position that you should be applying to based on
Yeah.
on qualities, and
Hmm.
they are giving it to you automated through a system online. So
Yeah. 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 I mean, with the internet going on, you can do pretty much anything with any company. It's just matter of know how to move yourself in the sea of artists.
definitely something that I saw in Bulgaria as well. As I went to some events in entrepreneurship, there were some companies there formed by people who were 18 and 19
Hmm.
years old or something like that, and I saw was young people who were doing businesses and ideas who are already producing like about $50,000 per year or $100,000 per year. Like, imagine if you had made that money when you were 18 and 19.
Yeah.
And something that I realized is something along the lines of what you say, like born there. And Bulgaria is even known like as one of the poor countries of Europe.
Hmm.
For you
Yeah.
to have an idea, like were born there, and because they were surrounded histories of people who had 15-year-old and now they are making a lot of money because of these ideas that they had.
Hmm.
Like being surrounded between that allowed them to think so capable of pretty much trying all these things, and they were doing this business's idea and getting investors, say that.
Hmm.
And when I look back into my own country, like we have people who are 30 years old and who are completely insecure in their own ability to produce something, because
Hmm.
again, like their environment, they had a lot of people telling like, "Oh no, that's the 1%," like that's because they are special, whatever excuse they
Hmm.
have. Uh, but yeah, that's a huge difference that I saw. It's not even a difference in a skill, difference in intelligence. It was
Hmm.
just the advantage of being born in an environment where you see that was possible, born in an environment where everybody was telling you, go to college, get a job, like that's the safe path. If you try,
Yeah.
you're going to die. Like
Hmm.
uh, something that that is why I'm trying to attack the things that we don't know, because when we start breaking these barriers, which are like these are just mental limitations that
Hmm.
maybe they had a base in reality years ago, but now they don't exist. And that
Yeah. And
adaptation fast is hard.
yeah, yeah, sure. One thing I was worried about was that if school was something necessary to get jobs, other than visa requirements or passport requirements or whatever. I was worried about studies. I mean, for art, do you need studies to get a job in a company? And I have been in a lot of portfolio reviews, and that was my main concern always. And all the time I was telling, if your portfolio is good enough, you don't need studies, because we need to see that you are capable of doing what we want you to do. And we don't care if you went to the best school or to the worst school or you don't have any art background at all, as long as you know how to draw whatever it's needed for the production, so that was a huge like heads up, like, hey, you can do it, you just have to get all the permits. but but yeah, I mean.
And, and you know something funny that happened ago? Uh, a study that businesses and all these things started making in the
Mhm.
world to see this, and they come up with the top 10 most useless college degrees that you could get. They
Mhm.
are they are not only not going to help you to get a job, they are actually going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You are going to be less probable to get a job, and you are going to get paid less if you get one of
Mhm.
these college degrees. For place, there was graphic design.
Yeah, and it's
The third
crazy.
place
Huh?
was an engineering, and I went from science studies to engineering, and I was like, oh well, like nice to
You
know
was
that
like,
I spent like 4 years of my life completely wasted.
man. No, but I think every career or every profession has its own way, and if you know how to squeeze it at its most, you can do whatever you want. I mean, as you are doing now, you say like you're making more money as like internet entrepreneuring than getting a job in your country. So doing that kind of stuff is something that you say, well, I'm being successful in a way other than what people expect of me, you know?
Yeah, from my point of view, I just see like, okay, am I going to die from hunger or something like that, or being homeless? And as long as the answer is no, then I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, what was something that you completely expected from the through, and it's really important?
Uh, Always have fun. I mean, I know there can be times that you're gonna be like overwhelmed with work or with whatever, but as long as you're doing the thing you want to do, you're gonna have a better time than people who is doing things that they don't want to. So I think the thing I'm most grateful of is that I'm able to make a living out of drawing. So I'm very happy for that. I never in my life before this, I expected to make a living out of drawing and painting. And now that I see it's possible, I say all the new artists that comes to me and ask me, hey, how can I do this or how can I do that? I'm worried about how if I'm gonna get a job or not. And I tell them like, as long as you are capable of doing a good job and always deliver on time, you will have work to do. You will have things to do, and the better the things you do, and the more people you know, the better jobs will come to you because networking is everything. So I think it's that. I mean, drawing all day, every day of the year. That's I think the thing I like the most.
Awesome. Definitely agree with that. Like something that I realized is that after many years with working with my partner and pretty much our team,
Mhm.
that we never had like a fight. Like it's all been always laughter and jokes, and
Uh-huh.
even in the moments where we were a little bit stressed because of the amount of work that we had to do,
Hmm.
in those moments we were laughing our ass off and
Yeah.
making jokes about our condition, and pretty much like there is this gif of us in The Simpsons when Willie pretty much uh, uh, smacks a whip that has many whips on it, and it's starting to
Oh
hit
yeah.
all the students. And we use that as a meme, like as we were working. That was the meme that we were using.
Oh
Uh,
man.
what is an advice that you will give, like a young, driven artist that is about to enter the real world?
um the first thing is don't expect to be easy because it never is. But an advice will be always deliver on time and do the best you can in the time you has to do it. And try not to fight with other artists because if you have a fight, eventually everybody is gonna know about that. And it can create some conflict between you and some potential connections, because people could have a how do you say it, like a preconception of you as a person. And I think that's the most important thing, that take care about how you are seen for by other artists in the industry. And that's pretty much it. I mean, talk with everyone you can and make friends and stuff, because that's gonna get you more jobs, and it's gonna get you to move along in this industry. So yeah.
That is something that many people have mentioned to me, that in this industry, because of the same environment of happiness and all that,
Hmm.
everybody has told me that they have seen many situations where they had an amazing, talented artist, but who had not the best attitude in the world, and then
Hmm.
they had like a decent artist, but with a great attitude, and they always go for the artist who is decent but is really
Hmm.
great to work with and has a good
Yeah.
than to choose the amazing artist who has a shitty attitude.
Yeah, and you know what? That's because one person can make a lot of trouble in an environment of artists. So you prefer to avoid that and get better persons who can make, let's say, a good job in general, than have one person that's, as you said, like super talented, but it's gonna screw the the whole team. So that's something people want to avoid.
Yeah, definitely. Also, in the beginning, you mentioned that you had a lot of failures up into your career. Can you tell us if there is a failure in a specific that set you up for major success in the future, or if there is a favorite failure that you have in your head?
Mm, I well, I told you about that time that I was not paid. So from that onward, I changed like my mindset of, okay, I think I'm too nice to people, so I have to still being nice, but try to get business from personal stuff apart. Like I told you, business is business, and I can talk to you very friendly, but at the end, if this is not completed, well, that's totally different matter for this, no. But yeah, that time that I wasn't paid was one of them. And also I had a conversation with a friend when I was in this job in an office with tie and everything, about my career. And there was a lot of work to do, and I saw a friend that walking away from the office, and I was like, "Hey, there's still lots of work to do." And he told me, "And there's gonna be lots of work to do tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after, and we're not getting paid extra hours. So why to spend my time here?" And I was like, "Oh shit! I mean, my time is like the best precious thing." So I think another mistake, not mine, but from probably most of the people, is spend a lot of time making work instead of spending by to yourself. So if you're not getting paid extra hours, don't stay too late, or leave it for the next day, because there's the industry is a machine. It's still running. Whatever you fail or not, it's gonna be running and running. So I think that, I mean, that's not a failure, but I think that was like a life lesson for me, to not fail in that particular way in the future. So I think those are the I can't remember more of them, but I think those are like the most valued self awareness I could share.
Yeah, this is something that also has came up, and especially in my group of friends who are entrepreneurs, they are realizing this more and more that, well, in art is pretty much that the best ideas that they have are the ones that come from real life. So
Hmm.
I know many people who pretty much locked up in the rooms to start creating art and art and art and never come up. And
Hmm.
pretty much that's a mistake that many people see, that you need to come out of your room, you need to live life, you need to start like paying attention to your surroundings,
Yeah.
and be surrounded in great environments and have adventures and have life experiences, and your best ideas are going to come up from that. And
Hmm.
even in the entrepreneurship community where I hang out a lot, like people are starting to realize that when they are pretty much handling their own lives and enjoying them and having adventures and being surrounded with great things, uh, they become more energized and they get better ideas than if they were locked up working and working and working.
Yeah. 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 Totally. I I can tell enough how this can affect you in so many ways. I actually had the last 2 years. I was so filled with work that I was like overwhelmed at the end, and I tried to draw for myself things for myself, and I couldn't. I wasn't able to do it because I was how do you say, overheated, you know. So I decided to not draw in a while, just see movies, watch movies, series, just go out, hang out with friends. And after some time, I started to draw again for myself with very easy. So I think that's something people have to take into account when drawing or whatever they're doing, not to overdo themselves with work, but also enjoy other things uh, to clear your mind, you know. So
Definitely. And which brings me to the next question. Uh, when you feel overwhelmed or you feel unfocused, what do you do to get back to that center place, mentally speaking?
okay. Well, sometimes you have the time just to hang out and just do nothing but enjoy yourself with whatever you want. But if you have a tight deadline, as I have had in the past, you have to overcome that stress and just finish your stuff. And probably that stress can help you to get into track again, because you have to do things, you want it or not. But also, if you have enough time just to chill out and forget about drawing or doing whatever for a second and enjoy a video game or something, uh, that helped me to get back on track. Just sometimes just by reading a book or reading some comics, that can like get me pumped up and say, oh, I'm inspired, so I'm gonna draw again. I don't know. um, I love art books, so whenever I'm feeling like that, I take a bunch of them and start to taking a look, and I was like, oh, this is so good, I want to draw something, and I start drawing something. So I think for each person it works different, but for me it's looking at others people uh, drawings or paintings that makes me realize that I want to make something good. So I get inspired by that.
Nice.
Mhm.
And this question is going to be a little bit tricky and harder as well. That is
Dun, dun, dun.
something that I like to ask as well because sometimes gets me really interesting answers. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Imagine that you wake up tomorrow and you are in a different dimension. Nobody knows about you, your reputation is gone, but you have all your skills, you have all your knowledge,
Uh-huh.
you have $500 in your pocket, and you have all the tools that you need to do your art. What do you do to get back to this position, professionally speaking, as soon as possible?
Ah, oh wow. Hundred bucks in my pocket.
No, 500.
500. Okay. Holy shit. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, wow. Do I have a place to live or
Yes.
not?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, oh my God. If I have all my tools to work, right? Um, and oh man, I
You
don't
have all your
know.
knowledge and all your skill as well.
Okay, but in this dimension, it's like I don't know no one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all by myself. Okay, I think the first time I will do would be to get into the internet and try to find whatever editor or headhunter, talent, artist, whatever, and send my portfolio or whatever at the first time. That will be the first. Um, Secondly, ah, if I want to make like a living like right now, something it has getting good result for me has been go to coffees and just draw, and some random people will come out and always they ask, oh, how much do you charge for a drawing or something like that. So probably I can use that just in the meanwhile while I wait for an answer for the portfolio thing. I don't know, that's a good question. But that's hard. Oh yeah, I don't know, probably I will do that. I don't know what will I do with the money. Probably if there's a convention or something, I will save that money to go to that convention and get connections. Uh, I don't know. It depends how uh, how bad is my situation in saying that I have the capacity to live for a month, or I don't know. It's a good question. I can't even.
Yeah, it's definitely a tricky one. Yeah, something that I really liked about Europe is that they have this culture where you can go to the street
Oh
and
yeah.
do your art, if it is music, drawing, dancing, whatever. You can just go there and do your art, and
Yeah.
you will get a lot of money. And funny thing is that I met some musicians there who pretty much uh, the time in the street, like, they use it to practice.
Hmm.
So they are getting paid to practice and get better at playing an instrument. So that's really great.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's a good question. It got me. It got me like, oh my god, what
Yeah,
I'm
I know it's hard.
gonna.
Is there any advice that you would like to give to someone who is starting into art that we haven't talked into this interview yet?
Yeah, for students, one thing I have seen in a lot of students is that they want all the knowledge uh, right away. Like if you go to class, you will have the knowledge like this. And as far as I know, because I'm self-taught, I don't know what is to have homework of art. What I tell them is, if you want to learn, do your own research and don't expect the school to teach you everything, because it will not. You have to be self-conscious about what your strength is and what your weakness is, and try to work around them, because if you just expect your teacher or whoever to tell you that you're wrong, or what you have to study, you will have a very, very bad time. But if you have the interest and you know you need to research things for yourself by yourself, you will learn more in a short term than whatever you can be taught in a school. Because as we say, el interés tiene pies, you know. So I think that's the advice I can give to fellow students, to do that. Just research by themselves, and try to be better by themselves, and not to expect everyone to give them everything.
That's a definitely great advice. I definitely talk about this a lot. That especially in Latin
Mm-hmm.
America, like if you do your own research, you'll see that the Latin American schools and colleges don't have like the best index of quality of education.
Yeah.
Uh, Something that has changed a lot is that okay, you can choose to waste a lot of money and a lot of time into going to college, or
Mm-hmm.
you can learn by yourself and save a lot of time and a lot of money if you learn from yourself in the internet. And there are now
Yeah.
researchers who are really amazing doing this. Like there is Khan Academy for free. There is things like Escalism. Uh,
Yeah.
you pay $15 a month and you get classes by the best in the industry worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are
Yeah.
many
You have
resources.
everything on the internet. You have all the tools to do yourself a better artist in general. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if people want to find you online, where will be the best place to do so?
Okay. I'm the worst at keeping my social accounts as a one. So for Facebook is Omar Lozano Art. For Instagram is Omarito with a zero as the first O. So that's the worst thing I ever done. And and my Twitter is underscore Omarito underscore.
Nice. Uh, Also, can you tell us a little bit about the things that you are working right now?
Okay, right now I'm working on four children books of Wonder Woman, and I'm also working on something of Troll Hunters. I'm doing something for the book series that will come up hopefully next year. Um, Other than that, I'm working on three projects of myself. Um, I'm actually working on a web comic called Add On. You know, Add On. You can look it on Facebook. It's about a little robot who goes on an adventure. And I'm also working on some other projects that I hopefully will share next year with you. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Thanks a
Mhm.
lot for giving us your time and being here, giving us all your advice as well. It has been really great and an amazing experience.
Thank you for having me, and it was so great to talk to you and talk about everything. You know, all this stuff that hopefully will help someone in there. So yeah.
You definitely will. So, this has been the last episode of the Creative Hustler Show. If you like it, please click the like button below and also share this interview with your friends. Until next time.